Israel's Beirut airstrikes, a deep dive into the conflict. This video may contain light patterns or images that could trigger seizures or cause discomfort for people with visual sensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised. The world watched in horror as plumes of smoke rose from Beirut, a city still scarred from past conflicts. Israel had launched heavy airstrikes, with reports of entire city blocks reduced to rubble. The images are stark, the destruction undeniable. But behind the headlines lies a complex web of political tensions, historical grievances, and simmering resentment. Tonight, we take a deep dive into the Israeli airstrikes on Beirut. We'll examine the events leading up to the attack, the motivations of the players involved, and the potential for further escalation. The timing of the airstrikes is impossible to ignore. They come just days after President Biden reaffirmed the United States' unwavering support for Israel. Some analysts are interpreting this as a direct challenge to the U.S., a signal that Israel is willing to act unilaterally, even if it means straining relations with its closest ally. The White House has so far issued a cautious statement, calling for de-escalation but stopping short of condemning the strikes.
The gravity of the situation is reflected in the words of the UN Secretary-General, who warned that the region cannot afford endless negotiations. His statement underscores the urgency of finding a peaceful resolution to the conflict. The UN has called for an immediate ceasefire and a return to dialogue. However, with tensions running high and mistrust deeply entrenched, the path to peace seems as elusive as ever.
Hamas, the militant group that controls the Gaza Strip, has condemned the airstrikes as a dangerous escalation. They have vowed to retaliate, raising fears of a wider conflict. The group claims the attack targeted civilians and constitutes a war crime. The international community is watching nervously, aware that any escalation could have devastating consequences for the region.
Domestically, the Israeli government is facing growing pressure to act decisively against perceived threats. Public opinion polls show overwhelming support for the military operation in Lebanon. Many Israelis see the airstrikes as a necessary response to provocations from Hezbollah. The government has vowed to continue its operations until its security concerns are addressed.
Hezbollah, the powerful Shiite militant group based in Lebanon, has remained relatively quiet since the airstrikes. This silence is fueling speculation and anxiety, with many wondering what Hezbollah's response will be. Some analysts believe Hezbollah is biding its time, waiting for the opportune moment to strike back. Others suggest that Hezbollah may be seeking to avoid a full-blown war, at least for now.
The situation in Beirut remains incredibly tense tonight. The dust has barely settled, and already the blame game is in full swing. What's clear is that there are no easy answers here. The Israeli airstrikes have opened up a Pandora's box of questions, and the path forward is fraught with danger. One thing we know for sure, the people of Beirut are caught in the middle, their lives and livelihoods once again shattered by forces beyond their control. The international community has a responsibility to demand a ceasefire, to push for dialogue, and to work tirelessly towards a just and lasting peace. Anything less is simply unacceptable.